Hello, Abyssal Travelers. My name is Nyla, and I will be your guide through the abyss. In this video, I want to go over a comment that I left on someone's community feed just recently, because I think the context of it is very important um, for everyone to hear, especially people in the spiritual community right now. Um, so, I'm going to read over this from a certain point all the way down, and I will be doing so from my tablet, so if you see me looking over this way, that's what I'm looking at. So, let's get into it. And starting from, ah, where is it? Where is it? Here we are. Let's start from painting over human qualities that we all have in order to make them seem less impactful will not make them go away. Telling yourself that the things that define your experience in this realm are not part of who you are will only create a sense of body dysmorphia. It is not about throwing away the human qualities out to the wind, but understanding and integrating them into our very being to understand better who we truly are. And you cannot do that without the help of emotions, regardless of whether you see them as good or bad. Beings in the realm of spirit experience emotion like we do. Excuse me. Maybe not exactly as we do, but it does exist there. I can personally attest to this in my relationship with the goddess Hecate. I have felt her love as well as her annoyance with me. And yes, it is true. With Mother Hecate, I have many times felt her frustration and annoyance. She is not always in a state of, love and light and all of that nonsense. There are times that when she is just straight up annoyed or angry. Um, and it doesn't always come from a place of love. Sometimes it just comes from a place of being fed up. And that is perfectly normal, even in the spirit realm, for any spirit, for anyone or anything to feel. But anyway, to the um back to the comment that I left. The question begs though, how could any being truly act without the existence of emotion? Why would source energies, God, whatever you call it, send parts of itself to Earth if not for wanting more, if not for the desire to seek itself in ways that it cannot in its current state of being. I do not see emotion I do not see emotions that are considered negative to be a part of ego. I see ego telling the self that these emotions are a part of it and twisting the truth. Ego wishes to keep us chasing the toxic positivity idea that the true self never feels anything but happy, so that it can feed on our desperation to reach an impossible goal. And then someone left me a comment that had something to do with you know, exactly what I already went over. Um, Stating that, the true self is just eternal happiness and joy, which is a load of nonsense. And so my reply to her, to that comment or to them was the true self is not just love and joy. If that were the case, the true self would have no reason to send any part of itself here. It would have no reason to want to know more about itself because the constant stream of joy and love would be all that it ever needed. The desire to know more comes from a place of longing for something greater. If we choose to come here to know ourselves better, then we are longing for more, which means that the true self is not just a continuous stream of love and joy, and that physical form we inhabit, and that the physical form we inhabit is as much a part of us as it is how we have chosen to better understand ourselves. The idea that we are separate from our physical forms quite literally comes from Christian religion itself, in that Jesus was said to be manifested in the physical form of a human. That is where this idea comes from and is still being pushed in the spiritual community. And that is 100% the truth. The idea that we are separate from the forms that we have come to this earth to better know ourselves from, that we are completely separate from these forms, that we are not forms themselves, is just a religious dogma passed down from people who have uh, joined or, you know, who have partially deconstructed from Christian religion and have converted into the New Age spiritual movement. It's a thought form that existed in Christianity for many, many, many years. Um, that we are not of the flesh, that we are not, and that we are not to be of the flesh. It's an entire Christianity belief. It's a dogma from Christianity. And because of how easy it is for people to be manipulated into, um, you know, uh, the desire to not be here, to the desire to not exist in this world, the desire to not exist in the form of in the human body that they exist in, it has been carried over into this new age spiritual religious movement, and so that's basically what it is. But we're not separate from the physical form. These physical forms are as much a part of ourselves as our spiritual forms are, because we did choose to come here in the physical. We did choose to come to the physical realm in order to better know ourselves, in order to better understand who and what we are. And so these forms that we have right now, these forms, these bodies, um, they are a manifestation of our physical consciousness. They are a manifestation of our mental consciousness. They are a physical. A they are in direct connection with who we are. We manifested these forms. We chose these forms. We have created um, the space in which these forms exist in order for us to exist in the physical realm. Every single part of the physical body and the physical mind and the emotions and the trials and tribulations are a manifestation of the true self of our uh of our higher self, of source energy. They are not separate. They were never separate. The idea of separation is of the ego itself. The ego wants us to believe that we are separated in that our spiritual form is separate from our physical form. In order to create desperation to escape the physical form, a desperation to escape the true self, desperation to escape um the it the physical realm that we created in order to know ourselves and to understand ourselves in a way that is outside of the spiritual realm, outside of um just um energy, and particles and all of that stuff. You know, that is what our physical forms are. That is why we chose to exist in a physical form. Because in order to better understand ourselves outside of the spiritual body, we needed to manifest in the physical. We needed to create the emotions and the concept of humanity itself, um, in order to in order to be in a state that is able to understand those types of things. Because in the spiritual form, even though and emotion, thoughts, and things of that nature exist, they exist in a completely different state than they do in a physical form, in a human form. In the spiritual form, emotion exists in a purely logical state. Um, they exist purely from a logical standpoint. In that emotions are only used as a tool in order to create, in order to gain more knowledge, in order to to do things um in order to do things that need to be done. In the spiritual form, the emotions that we have, the chaotic, erratic, you know emotions that can come about from being human, don't exist that way in the spiritual form. So in order to better understand the emotions themselves, rather than being from a purely logical being and living in a purely logical state of mind, state of being, or just existing to exist, we instead decided, um, with our logical longing to know more, we decided to create a form that could explore further the full spectrum of emotions from a from an emotional point of view, rather than just from the logical point of view, from the point of view of someone, source energy, to be you know more precise, a point of view of already knowing everything, already having all of the answers, already having a a logical, somewhat logical understanding of what emotions are. I would say that even though source energy, God, whatever you want to call it, knows and understands everything that is, it cannot physically experience those things outside of itself, because it has fully integrated and understood those feelings and emotions, and as such, it has gained complete control over those feelings, thoughts, and emotions, such that it whenever those things occur, um, it can simply choose not to feel those things, not to think those things, not to have those emotions in play, and so much so that I believe that it happens without thought, without even lifting a finger. And so, um, in order to bring itself into a state of of full understanding of the emotional spectrum from a point of view of someone who does not have complete and total control or knowledge over the emotion, it it chose to send parts of itself down to earth into a physical form in order to experience it from a point of view from our point of view, from a human point of view, from a perspective of um, non-logical, non-linear, non-understanding, just pure raw emotion. And that is what I believe this is. That's what I believe this is. It's just it is, the point of the spiritual realm better, getting to know the human state and the human emotion from the point of view of from the point of view of something that is physical, that does not have um complete control over it. And as such, the physical forms that we inhabit are just as much a part of ourselves, as I said earlier. They are as much as a part of ourselves as our spiritual forms. These bodies that we inhabit are a part of ourselves. They are um they are the representation of who and what we are in the physical realm, in the physical form, rather than in the spiritual form. And it is very important that we understand that who we are right here, right now, is is also who we are in spirit. Um there's just not separation here. There's not a separation between the physical body and the spiritual body. The physical body exists so that the spiritual body can know itself better. And the spiritual body integrates what the physical body learns and understands about itself into its own into itself. The yeah it integrates the spiritual body integrates what we learn in the physical into its spiritual body, and then it takes that information, um analyzes it, and then it begins to toss questions back at us in the physical form, so that we can answer those questions from a human perspective, so that it can then learn more and more about itself. And the cycle repeats until um, the spiritual body fully understands and fully knows who and what it is. Um, you know, outside of its, spiritual form. And that's how it goes. And that's what I believe. That's what I've come to understand um in my spiritual journey so far. So, that's going to wrap up this video. This video will be going out tomorrow after the video I just posted a couple of hours ago because I slept in for longer than I was expecting to sleep, and I did not get the first video out early like I was expecting to do. It came out very late because I lost internet connection at the house, and so I was not able to. Excuse me. I was not able to edit and fully upload the video in a timely manner, and so there was a lot of time wasted. But anyway, if you did enjoy this video, please leave a like down below. Leave a comment. Let me know your thoughts and opinions. I hope this video has earned your subscription, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.